So more tweets you post, more videos, you'll get OpenScore growing. And basically, this is
so it's dynamic. It's an indication of how your trend is going to grow going forward, which we see as very kind of indicative of kind of tight data. It's quite a good feature, we think, and as our data is kind of built up over the next 30 days, because we've just launched now, we've actually extended this graph to bring it over a fuller period, where now for a lot of the profiles you'll just see a very short period that we've been analyzing. So over the next 30 days this will be analyzed a lot deeper, and you'll see a lot of variances in some of the graphs, which we'd be happy to bring to you. We'll give more feedback on that and how that proceeds over the next 30 days as well. So a quick kind of overview then on the various elements of the analysis of the OpenScore. What you've just witnessed there is what we've highlighted here in the light blue. It's basically the OpenScore summation. So it's a sum of all the feeds that we're pulling in. We're basically just graphing that. We've attached various weights then to basically all the feeds that we're pulling in. And you can attach individual ones, not just to the actual service, but to say how many tweets you've got on Twitter, how many retweets, do you have an avatar upload. So there's a lot of individual things that we're analyzing for each of the different feeds coming in, and the various weights attached to them. And so once we go forward, then we'll go into the basic kind of web presence.
The basic analysis, which studies the way your business progresses. Example again, because this is the way to explain things. Just imagine John, the plumber, who has a business, and the only online exposure is being listed in an online directory. And if he go faster or more than this, he has to pay a lot for a company. And what we're doing, we're helping him with straightforward tips to get online and get more exposure. As a created Twitter account, if he has one, we have more steps forward. We're telling him how to do it, when to do it, and so on. So basically, this is straightforward information for the general public who doesn't want to get involved too much into learning the whole thing about. Going to be helpful for most of the businesses out there.
Yeah, but then we jump down into the more detailed stuff, which is basically for the businesses that are established already on these existing services. So we'll be able to provide a detailed view on each of the feeds we're pulling through for your business and how you've proceeded over a period of time. And then as we go down to step 4, it's basically the same as step 3, a detailed performance analysis, where we basically compare your trends with what's happening in your industry and for your competitors. So give you a good overview of how you're looking within your industry, and you can compare it to other people across industries to see how they're doing, who are some of the top guys, and how they're performing. So a good overview, and like I said, these next 3 steps, 2, 3, and 4, are going to come online over the next 30 days as the data collection improves and we build up a better view of how all the businesses are looking on Loopthing. So why OpenScore? Why have we decided to do this, and what's the reasons behind it? So I suppose the main thing is that people want to be able to analyze their performance on the net, and their basic online performance. So people are investing a lot of money and time in their kind of their web presence, and especially through social mediums. So you basically want to identify how you're trending on all these. So that's where it's coming back and collected back on Loopthing. So basically achieving some sort of return on investment in what you're doing, not just in terms of money, but also in time and your engagement online. And so you can analyze at various stages what you've been doing. And so I can identify solutions basically. So how should I engage online? That's the more basic analysis for companies that we're not necessarily teaching them, but we're just providing our kind of views on what's available, and how they're kind of performing. And then we go down into the more, I suppose, targeted database and support center, which is for the guys that have an existing presence and really want the kind of in-depth stuff. So we can provide you that for the various feeds. And then what we think would be very useful is basically comparing individual companies against each other, but also within an industry. So how is an industry performing, and how do you perform within that, which we think will be very useful. And I suppose a little quote at the end where we saw this morning, we were arguing where it came from. If you can't measure, you can't improve. Vlad thought it was Google or some mathematician, but I think we'll have to Google that one afterwards and see where it came from. But I think very kind of appropriate for what we're doing and for what we're going to provide through the OpenScore. So I suppose what's next on our charts, I think first we'll have a pint this evening after doing all that.
I think we'll have to.
I don't know, maybe two, yeah, or we might wait till Friday for a Cork Open Coffee after dark, where we'll be in the bodega, so we might have some there. So back to work then tomorrow morning. I suppose it's the advancement of the OpenScore and see the data coming through and get these steps of analysis out there for you guys to use. After that, we're going to implement the landing page redesign. So we basically have all this data that we're now comparing, so we want to be able to pull that onto the landing page. We found some very useful ways of doing it, so that's the next step. It's kind of served its purpose since soft launch, and now we're looking for a bit of a redesign. Also, the dashboard will be redesigned as well, and just an overall kind of site analysis on the usability, and I suppose how you guys are kind of finding it. And we've got some great feedback on it already, so we thank you for that. I suppose the next step, really exciting one for some of us, is the site speed optimization. You'll be doing a bit of that over the coming days, lad.
Yeah, I'll be working on the cloud to make the site faster. Basically, what we're trying to do is to make this as possible. So there's some code there to verify, and we're going to work with database to make sure that it's nice. So focus on.
Cool. And I suppose the next step is why we've kind of launched the seed funding round is what we've been kind of working on behind the scenes is to open up the network to third-party developers and get some externally piped applications on there for business benefits. So we know there's a lot of guys out there with some good ideas, so we want to basically support that and be able to import them into Loopthing. So that's basically what we're doing for the seed funding round, and also for our mobile application development, which obviously is a very important part of the project going forward as well. So they're the next steps that we're going to undertake. So we hope that you'll enjoy them along the way, and we know we definitely will. So that's about it there now from our quick overview. We said we'd do an overview rather than a really in-depth thing. We didn't want to bore the pants off anyone, or we said it'd be pretty good. So if you have any detailed questions, we'd be more than happy to answer them. You can get us on any of the various formats here. We're always live on Twitter as well if you want to catch up with us there. So other than that, do we have any questions coming through?
Yeah, there's some.
So where does the name come from? Loopthing, a classic question by one of our friends in Cork. So I suppose Loopthing, we were kind of sitting around, and it was kind of, we wanted to bring businesses into the kind of loop, the kind of wider transaction arena. So we needed them to provide as much information as possible to give the people out there. Fair enough, you can provide a company with a rating, and that might look great, but I think the best way to do it is to get a business and just see as much stuff about them as possible. So we wanted to create a kind of loop around that. I know it sounds a bit techie or a bit weird, but that was basically it. So not a very kind of extravagant kind of definition of it, but it seems to fit us grand, and it's a cool name, I think. Anyway, yeah. Seems to fit the bill.
Yeah.
So competitors at the moment, we have a number of them in kind of different arenas, and we jumped through a number of different hoops, I suppose. I suppose if you're looking at the kind of existing social networks out there, like Facebook, and that they're taking business pages, LinkedIn is predominantly for your professional profiles, but also having a business presence, and also obviously you have hundreds of individual directories that offer different elements of information, but a lot more basic than Loopthing. So we basically see ourselves as being the kind of dedicated sole business network. And then if you look down the application line, say if we're launching the OpenScore, you're looking more into the data analysis kind of guys. So there's a number in that field, RJ Metrics, a number of different guys that are there already and providing specific analysis. So we kind of jumped through a number of hoops along the way, and we've identified all these guys, and we think we can differentiate from them and kind of push forward. Where can you access this presentation? We'll put this live on the web after we're recording it through Camtasia as well. So we'll put it live send a link on Twitter as we finish. and probably it'll be on our Facebook profile and the Loopthing blog as well, so you can catch it there. So I think that's about it from us here now in Cork. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I hope you'll actually be, I think, brought to the Loopthing homepage after you finished here. So check it out, and we'll be happy to hear from you going forward. Cheers, guys.
Thanks. See ya.